What's going on, everybody? Chris here. Um, this is a little more on demographics, but I wanted to just kind of start, not inverted pyramid triangle style. I'm going to give you straight up pyramid. This is the point. This is the point. Eurodollar futures in its cycle, and we're going to kind of build off of it. Just straight up triangle style, not inverse triangle. This is the point right here, and the validity of the Eurodollar futures cycle is in the population and the fertility rate, the total population and the cycles in that. And there's I just like how congruent and how what's it called, confluent things are when it just matches, and you're able to determine the cycle, you're able to determine when it starts, and things are gravy. But just overall, Eurodollar futures, it's basically U.S. dollars and offshore banks, and these markets have our shadow banking system. It's a shadow banking system, and it's offshore, so it makes it difficult for the Fed to track. And they pretty much publicly announced it. Alan Greenspan and Ben Bernanke, which were the two Fed presidents before Powell, they basically said that they can't track. They can't track money. They don't do money. Blah blah blah. And they so this how it works. It's like I think it's 22 years long. So basically 2013 minus 1990. It's 2023. Oh, 1991. So it's 22 years long. 1991. I keep on getting that wrong. So 2013 minus 1991. 22 years. And then from 1991 to 20. No. So we want to figure out the start of the cycle. So 1991 minus 22. Or no, we want to see the start of the green zone where it ends. So 1969, 1974. So roughly the green zone lasts 5 years. So 74 minus 69. Yeah. So the green zone is roughly 5 years. And we hit the green zone starting in pretty much 2013. And so, every green zone is roughly 5 to 6 years. It's what it looks like. And then for 2020, I don't know. I think that sounds accurate. Let's look. Where's the big one? Is there a big one? Here it is. 2013. I mean, that sounds about right. 2013 is right here. So we had a down quarter in 2012, and then when we hit 2013, we took off. And that was how many years of growth? And if we did the 5 year, 6 year, so 6 years, that's 2019. So I mean, that sounds about right. Like, and then now we've hit some crazy. We've hit a nice stretch of growth here, and then we got extended by the QE, the emergency QE, that we could see there. And then we're probably going to be seeing these lows like very. We're still going to look just like this. This crap that we see here, where it's just ranging pretty much. So the goal is just, can you save up enough money till we hit the next low of where we were? So pretty much we're aiming down here till we hit this low. Can you save up enough money till we hit that low? So all jokes aside, that's pretty much what I'm expecting from what I see. It's pretty simple in that regard. So I showed you the cycle of the Eurodollar futures. We find out it's 22 years long, and roughly the green zone's 5 to 6 years long from the beginning of each cycle. And we started in 1991. That's kind of just our anchor point. And then we started again in 2013, and then 2034. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, and then now I wanted to kind of expand upon it with like demographics and birth rate, fertility rate. So I took pop and we're putting it in here. Download the data, and then we're gonna calculate, and then we're gonna put it in this Q Spectrum 2. We're gonna see what kind of cycles there are. So we want to pick a really big one, that one, and that's roughly 11 years. So get rid of all these other ones. The biggest cycle. So this software, you can pick different tools to help you with math cycles. This one, that's 238 days, I think. Yeah, 238 days, and that's not big enough. It's, I guess it's roughly 19 years. That's what it's saying. Um, yeah, it's 19 years, and that's the biggest cycle this can see. But I don't know. I'm liking the Q Spectrum 2. The Q Spectrum 2 just seems to be more. It's able to determine the higher quality cycles. I don't know. It's got a formula, and it's got a different formula, and I like it better. It just seems more accurate and more like a sine wave versus like, I don't know, multiple overtones. Yeah, I want less overtones because I'm able to, and that's kind of what we're seeing here with this turbo cycle. There's too many overtones, and I want something that kind of lasts a little longer. So Eurodollar futures cycle, that one's 22 years, and what's funny is this Q Spectrum 2, it's half that. It's 11 years. So it's, I think it's interesting just how similar it is with the Eurodollar futures cycle. It's pretty much half the Eurodollar futures cycle, and it didn't really get 2020 on the mark, but it did catch it when it was on the decline, and technically it's saying that today, roughly today, we're at the bottom. So it's really interesting. Like I know that if we actually looked, and that's for population, and that makes sense. I mean, we're in a war, so and this is more of the just United States. But if we do percent change from a year ago, it's kind of close. Like, to be honest, if we look at the percent, if we actually took the data and manipulated it to see percent change from a year ago, I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, that's it. Percent change from a year ago. Like, we're pretty close to the bottom, like 20, 21, 22, and 2. I think it did a good job of just finding out when, the bottom would be on percent change from a year ago. And we'll go back to it. So this is it. And it's saying that we're on the incline, and then we end at 2034. So that's kind of funny because that's exactly when the Eurodollar futures curve of the seasonality or the cycle, long-term cycle begins, which is here, 2034, in the green. So right now we're in the fragility zone on the Eurodollar futures cycle, and it seems like maybe we'll see something come into I don't know, in 2030, 2029, just another possible recession. I don't know. But yeah, we're still on the incline, and it doesn't mean we can't. I don't know, I just think with us being in the fragility zone, like anything's possible. Like more negative events happening is possible, just because we're in a fragile window. But it's just cool to see that the population and the growth of it matches the year-to-dollar future cycle. Now, if I were to take the fertility rate, so the downside with this fertility rate, I mean, it's the only this was the one. This is population growth percentage change. I guess this one's long enough. We could also use this. But the fertility rate, this one went back all the way to the 60s, and we went ahead and took that. We got this, and I tried my normal Q Spectrum 2, and it's not coming up with anything. So the next best thing is either the putting in a manual like year here, or you go to the turbo cycles, and the turbo cycles finds the cycle for you. But I want to. So this one, let's try 20 years, See, what sucks is this one we're kind of forcing it to look at a period and create its own cycle of. This is not bad. I mean, let's see, turbo cycles. So that's from turbo cycles, and this look at this. Like the astronomy can't even pick anything up, but it can pick up on turbo cycles, and it's what 22 years, the same amount as Eurodollar futures in that cycle is 22 years. So I just and then the total population was 11 years. So it's like half, but it's kind of cool just how it's staying congruent with demographics. Whether it's, I think we took this is SBDYN. That's this one. So that's the fertility rate. So the fertility rate is matching the Eurodollar futures cycle almost. Like the the beginning was in 1991, and then another beginning was in 2013. It's here, so it's a little off, but at the same time, like you're able to just understand that it's close. It's like just there's some lag in there, but I think it's interesting that money or finance or growth and demographics are very closely related to just growth, so if we can figure out growth, we can figure out, or demographics, we can figure out growth. If we could figure out, we could always also backwards the formula. I just wanted to just kind of show some congruence or some confluence with Eurodollar futures and the demographics, and that they are related in some way in terms of growth and how money moves. And then we'll try the percent population change growth, right? So let's go ahead and put it in here. But yeah, we found out that the total population cycle is 11 years. The fertility rate is 22 years, which matches the Eurodollar future cycle, which is 22 years. We know that the green zone lasts like 5 to 6 years. And then now let's try the percent growth of population change. So it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of data, but so yeah, we'll start here. Okay, can't find anything. We'll try turbo cycles, and this is 24 years, so it's pretty close. Like I don't like the turbo cycles, but I mean, if you don't have any other choice, it's kind of like your best bet, right? This bottoms in 2020, or yeah, 2020. So that's kind of funny. I was born in 1990, so it was on an upswing here. But recessions like '08 looks like it was on the beginning of a downswing. 2034 was when the beginning of that next green cycle, so it looks like it's in the middle of a downswing here. I don't know, but I definitely got 2020 right on the dot right there. And '08, it definitely got that until we hit, I think it's 2013 for the beginning of the Eurodollar futures curve growth. So what's weird is like we looked at the price chart, the S&P 500 at 2013. There's a lot of growth that happens, but here on the percent change of the population, this is looking like it doesn't really match well. But when we did the other one just on the total population pop. Let's see if it matches up on the dates. But right now, like it's getting close to the same amount of years for the Eurodollar future cycle, and I think that's kind of interesting for validity and confirmation with that. So this one we just kind of did the Q Spectrum 2 for having the AI find the cycles, and then we got rid of the ones that are too small, or we want the biggest one, and then we were lining up when this began and the Eurodollar futures. So 2013 is the beginning of the Eurodollar futures start of the cycle, plus this 2013, and it's on the upswing of the population, and it peaks roughly. There's a window, 2015 to 2017, so 13 to like 17. That's roughly 4 years, like 13 to 17. That's 4 years, so it's pretty close to the 5-year growth. So this matches the population cycle that's shown here, as far as like the growth in the green zone of the $1 futures. So obviously we just kind of cherry picked 2013. Let's try 1990. So here 1990 is when the $1 futures starts, and then we go possibly to this window all the way here, like 1992, 1993. So it was 1991. So 91 plus 5 would put us at 96. So it not so quite like matches exactly in terms of the cycle, but I do find it interesting that 11, 22, 24, it gets kind of in that area where it makes sense. Like for a fast, it's like 11, but for a slow, 20, 22 makes sense. And as far as like the dates, they're not really matching up so well, but it's close. It's like really close. I would say the population leads. Like it leads by like 2 to 3 years. So that's interesting. Like how the population growth leads by 2 to 3 years on the cycle, but then the Eurodollar futures lags by 2 to 3 years, and the fertility. I think the biggest thing for the fertility one was that it was 22 years. As far as the dates, let's see, we don't have it on here, but if we were to just take a second look at the fertility and just kind of what it's saying. So I think this is the one that didn't have a Q spectrum too. Yeah, this had only a turbo cycle, only one, and it selected some dates. And I think we were having an interesting discussion about it. But 08, let's see, 1991. So it's a little off. We were saying that the population growth is leading a little bit. So then this begins the upward cycle in 96, and 1991 is when it began. So this one is lagging a little bit. So it's saying the fertility cycle's lagging. We are using different tools, so keep that in mind. But I think that's interesting that this is saying that if we can't compare. Here we can. We started to go in the upswing on the population in 87. Fertility rates started to go in the upswing in 96, and then 91 is when Eurodollar futures start to go up. So Eurodollar futures seems to be in the middle. It seems like so 87 for the population swing up, Eurodollar futures in 91 of the start of the cycle, and the start of the cycle in fertility rates is 96. So I think that's really interesting, like how that cycle moves. It almost moves in tandem, because technically the total population is just half of the fertility rate, which is 22 years, and the Eurodollar futures, which is 22 years. So I just find that fascinating, just how it's that there's a window and there's a pattern of just demographics in some way where we can find out when growth can happen. And I think just the point of it all is just Eurodollar futures. If we were to find just like a sweet spot, it's pretty much if we were to figure out the cycle of the Eurodollar futures, which we already have, and this is it. And it's roughly 22 years long, roughly a green zone of 5 to 6 years. So 2034, we can expect a green zone of 5 to 6 years. And in the fragility zone, we can expect recessions, the number of recessions ranging from 2 to 4 recessions in the fragility zone. So that's kind of just the culmination of the research is just, hey, like demographics in some way support the Eurodollar futures curve, and there's more validity to the growth. Not only did we confirm with the starting in 91, going back all the way to 1925, leaping back cycles of 22 years, that yes, growth did happen around 1925. And then we also did it again for looking at 2013, and just kind of what happened before 2013 and a little what happened after 2013. And we have multiple confirmatory points, not only with the cycle of just the population, but also with price in confirming just the cycle that it really does have some validity and just some meaning in terms of influence and weight on when growth will happen.